З нагоди Великодних свят від імені Ради директорів та всіх працівників Української кредитової спілки Limited дарую всім членам Української кредитової спілки та всій нашій громаді цей вірш. Хай пасочка у пічці не згоряє, і шиночка завудиться в огні. Хай в вашій хаті свято не минає, і не зникають страви на столі. Хай яйця стануть різнокольорові, за порохом одного писанка. Хай хрін буде цілющим і здоровим, і цвіте бузок на стрічці рушничка. Хай дзвони в церкві ще гучніше дзвонять, хай ангел усміхнеться із небес. Хай навіть кошечки радіють і говорять: Христос воскрес, воістину воскрес.
Відома канадська письменниця українського походження Марша Фотчук-Скрипух недавно проводила зустрічі з читачами в Торонто з приводу публікації її нової книжки.
Сьогодні старшокласники школи імені кардинала Сліпого мають досить неординарний день. Зараз у них відбувається зустріч з канадською письменницею українського походження, яка розповідає їм про свою нову книгу «Don't tell the enemy».
And it wasn't until I met Irina and she told me about her mother that I decided that I really did need to write another story. And I was going to write it as nonfiction. Now, what is the difference between nonfiction and fiction? Yes. Nonfiction is real and fiction is fake. That's what most people think, and that was the answer that I wanted to give you, but it's not true. Because I write what's called historical fiction. And I also write what's called narrative nonfiction. Both of them have the same amount of truth and the same amount of not truth in them. But the difference is when you write narrative nonfiction, every single thing that happened in that story is true to the actual person. In Don't Tell the Enemy, every single thing that happened is true, but not to Kristya. Not all of it happened to the real girl.
Marsha, you writing for young adults and children historical fiction. You are using heavy topics for your books. You're writing about Vietnamese refugees, Armenian genocide, Holocaust, Holodomor, internment. It's very difficult to talk about this to children, and why these are your topics for your books, and what are the main challenges when you're writing them, especially the last book you wrote, Don't Tell the Enemy?
Well, I write on difficult topics for children because there are some topics that are so difficult that can only be written for children. That's actually a paraphrase of a famous quote by Philip Pullman, who is a famous children's writer in England. But children are a much more sophisticated audience than most adults realize. And also because they're finding themselves and finding out, the difference between morality and what's good and all this kind of thing, they're much more open to difficult subjects. Most adults, they want entertainment. So adults, when they see a dead body, they think of it as in a detective novel and it's just a prop and they're looking for entertainment. For children's fiction, if there's a dead body, then that's your main character. And kids identify with the person who's being persecuted, not like titillation like adults do. And so for me, I have deep respect for people who have suffered. And so I will write from their perspective, and I'm not going to use their perspective as entertainment. And so that's why I write for children. And I do write these difficult subjects because someone needs to. And the topics that I write on are generally ones that no one else has touched. As one of my editor put it, she said, the topics you write on are like other people wouldn't go near with a 10-foot pole. But I've been writing for 22 years now. And, at the beginning I would get hate mail and death threats, and now I get awards. And my books are extremely popular. I haven't changed what I've written, but I think that perhaps the reading audience is caught up with what I'm doing.
Пані Ірино, остання книжка, яку написала Марша Фотчук-Скрипух, називається «Don't Tell the Enemy», і історія базована на історії вашої родини, яка переховувала єврейських дітей у своєму будинку під час окупації нацистів в Україні.
Справді ця історія стосується моєї, зокрема, по маминій лінії. В їхній хаті переховувалося протягом 8 місяців 3 євреїв. 2 хлопців неповнолітніх, 14 і 17 років, і 1 старший чоловік біля 50 років. І так що дійсно ця історія, я б сказала, я намагаюся пронести оці всі переживання, і це все, що пережила моя родина, зокрема мама, крізь роки, і розповісти, можна сказати, цілому світу, що українці, яких часто звинувачують, що вони були просто спостерігачами, безсердечними, безжалісними. Хотіла розповісти людям, що насправді серед нас були люди, які віддали своє життя, рятуючи євреїв.
Don't Tell the Enemy. I'm really proud of this book. It was such a difficult book to write. You just interviewed Irina, and the way that I found out that I was going to write this book is she approached me actually at a book launch. She sat down beside me and she put on my lap the copy of the DVD that she had produced about her family's heroic acts during World War II. And she said, "Would you consider writing a book about my mother?" And I tried to write a book about her mother that was nonfiction, and I struggled for years and I couldn't do it. And then I decided that I needed to write it as a novel, so to give myself more flexibility with the characters and everything. So I made her older. That was the biggest thing, was because Christia herself was very young. She was like 8, 9 years old when she was doing things that most adults would never consider doing, such heroic things. And so for a reader now, you know, our coddled North American audience, it's hard for them to think of like a 9-year-old even being on the street by themselves, let alone sneaking to the ghetto and throwing food over a barbed wire fence at that age. It would be hard for them to understand it. So I did bring some fictional elements into it, but also so that I could create a whole cast of characters, because I could interview Christia, but I could not interview the people who had died around her. So, you know, using composite research, building composite characters, that's why I ended up writing it as a novel. And I was really afraid that Christia herself would be mad at me. And she's not. So this is good.
That's very good. Now, because you're writing for children and teenagers, young adults,
Yes.
do these books always require a happy ending?
Happy-ish. So, you know, on the last page, everyone isn't dead. You know, like it's sort of like the joke of what is a Canadian literary novel? It's when everybody's dead on the last page, right? And there's no hope for anything. And one of the reasons that I write for young people is that I am an optimist and I like to see the good side of everything. And so my books will always end on a note of hope, even though they can go to some really bleak places in the middle.
Діти, ви щойно зустрілися з відомою канадською письменницею українського походження. Вона вам розповідала про свою роботу і про свої останні книжки. Що ви дізналися з цієї зустрічі?
Щоб трошки більше в книжки, бо що не було у книжки, і я тепер знаю трошки більше.
Дякую.
Ми навчилися про авторку, ніби як вона виросла і що вона відчувала, і як вона пише ті книжки, і ніби як вона дістає свою інформацію і таке.
Дякую.
Ну, ми навчилися про її саму нову книжку і про люди, які в тій книжці є. Ми навчилися, як вони жили і як у них було життя і так.
Як книжка називається?
Don't Tell the Enemy.
Ну, я навчилася, що як вона пише, як вона відчувається про книжку, і що вона так якби бере за книжки. Та може бути правду, неправду, і вона так все від серця говорить про книжки.